Jets got it done on Thursday Night Football. They beat the Houston Texans and improve their record to 3-6. My thought on the Texans +3 and the under from our previous episode, I really thought it was going to hit. Texans were down 21-10 late. They were going to need an onside kick either way. They're down in the red zone. And my thought was, hey, if they score a touchdown, they're obviously going to go for two. And that would have made it 21-18, which would have pushed on the +3 because, let's face it, nobody is recovering an onside kick given the new kickoff rules. And then the under 43.5 also would have cashed, but not how it played out. Texans end up kicking the field goal. They do not get the onside kick. The under cashes, but the Texans do not cover. But the reason they were forced into the field goal was really the theme of the night, in my opinion. C.J. Stroud was sacked for the 8th time on that final drive. The Jets' pass rush was relentless, and you have to give them credit. They were coming after C.J. Stroud. They got pressure all night. They, as I said, sack him 8 times. That is what you would have expected to see from the New York Jets. I mean, I think coming into this season, the way the Jets played against the Texans on Thursday night was the way we anticipated them playing for this whole year. And it's just, I mean, that's the NFL, though. You look at 5 days ago, they're playing the Patriots. They have a lead late in the game. The Patriots must score a touchdown, and and they're on their second string quarterback, right? I mean, Jacoby Brissett, right? He is the second string quarterback for them, but obviously the guy has started a bunch of games, has won a bunch of games in this league, but in that one last Sunday, it's like you get the lead late in the game. This team, who has no offensive firepower, has to march down the field, and you have what is supposedly one of the best defenses in the league, and you let the Patriots. This isn't the Chiefs. This isn't, you name the offensive firepower team. You let the Patriots walk you down, win a game that they had no business winning. And I thought that was just a kind of a microcosm of the Jets' season thus far. The defense didn't play particularly well against the Bills in the Monday night game. They got run all over that night. But give them credit. They bounced back against the Texans. I will say the running defense was a little suspect. Joe Mixon did end up having over 100 yards on the night, but you got to give them credit. They stifled the Texans, and I understand C.J. Stroud was without Nico Collins. Stephon Diggs went out with a season-ending injury in the previous game, so he was a little shorthanded in terms of who he was throwing to, but the reality is the Jets absolutely had to have that game, and they got it. And you would like to think, from if you're a Jets fan, those are the games when you need to win and you should win, that you do win. And they didn't do that against the Patriots. So fortunately for them, they got it done against the Houston Texans. But I think we need to give credit to Garrett Wilson. Played just a monster game. Obviously, he has the amazing catch where he poses like he's the Jumpman logo and brings that thing in. I don't know how he got down inches from the back line of the end zone, but I thought that the Thursday night game was a great example and just a great reminder of who Garrett Wilson is. I thought it was absolutely insane earlier this season, you had people talking, well, maybe the Jets should trade Garrett Wilson. And then when they acquired Devontae, it's like, well, hey, maybe you got to trade Wilson, see what you can get back for him. And it's like, this guy is one of the most talented young players in the league. You could make the argument he is the most valuable player on this New York Jets offense. He won the Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2022 with relatively, no quarterback play. They had Joe Flacco that year, but it was a combination of like Joe Flacco and Zach Wilson, and Garrett Wilson did not have the quarterback play in 2022 that you would assume a guy would need to win Offensive Rookie of the Year at that position. He dominates in 2022, wins the award. 2023, Rodgers goes down essentially at the very beginning of the season, and then Garrett Wilson is playing with just a mishmash of Zach Wilson, Mike White, I forget who the other guy was that they threw in there, the other guy who just had no business playing in the NFL. But I want to say Garrett Wilson had like another 1,000-yard receiving season again, despite having completely subpar quarterback play. And coming into this season, obviously expectations were high. This Jets offense was supposed to click, score a bunch of points. He was supposed to be a prolific wide receiver. And they got off to a little bit of a slow start. Now, some of that is on Aaron. Garrett Wilson, though, the idea that the Jets fans or whoever, right, would suggest, oh, well, maybe this guy isn't our guy and we need to ship him. It's like, watch the Thursday night game and tell me if that guy is somebody that you want on your team or you want traded for draft picks. Because Garrett Wilson's a damn good receiver. He played awesome on Thursday night. And long term, he is your offense's best option. Aaron Rodgers and beyond. I thought they responded nicely after the Malachi Corley ball drop short of the goal line on that first touchdown, or what was the first touchdown that ended up, being taken off the board. Another example of a guy, it's inexplicable, and I don't even want to dwell on it or spend time talking about it. I don't know why guys drop the ball short of the goal line when in the NFL, and especially for the Jets, given that their offense has kind of sputtered this year. You have a walk-in touchdown. Why are we so eager to throw the ball down? Just, how about you run through the end zone and then you throw the ball down? I really thought, and this is, again, is why I give the Jets credit for the win. With how everything was going this season, you come off of a tough loss against Buffalo. You go into the Patriots game. You should absolutely win that game. You then lose that game. You come into Thursday night, a 6-2 Houston team comes into your building. To have a touchdown right in front of you and squander it via dropping the ball short of the goal line, I thought they were going to lose. I thought that was it. The Jets are the Jets, and once again, the follies that follow them on full display. They're going to be 2-7 after this thing. And got to give them credit, even though they essentially lost a touchdown, not because of penalty, right? Not a questionable call that pulled a tut off the board, literally their own doing. I thought that thing was going to end them. They bounce back from that. They ultimately win the game, and Rodgers throws 3 touchdowns. They rack up over 300 yards of offense against a really formidable Houston Texans defense, and they had to have it. So in a game that you must have, they win it. They're 3-6, and they're on to the next one. Now, one thing, and I'll kind of close the episode with this. There's a lot of talk about the Jets are entering the quote-unquote easy part of their schedule, right? The walk in the park. And I'm not so sure. I mean, look, in the NFL, I wouldn't classify any schedule as easy / oh, this is going to be a walk in the park. Their next, or I should say their final 8 games to close out the season, they come off this mini bye, having played on Thursday night. They go to Arizona, then they're home against the Colts, then a bye week, then they have Seattle coming to MetLife, coming off of the bye week, then they go to Miami, to Jacksonville, host the Rams, to Buffalo, and then host the Miami Dolphins to end the season. So they sit at 3-6. I really believe there is zero chance in the AFC that you can make the playoffs with more than 8 losses. So a team that goes 8-9, I don't think there's any chance an 8-9 AFC team makes the playoffs. But even at 9-8, it's not guaranteed. So the Jets are in a position right now where they've got 8 to go. And if they go 6-2 or better, then yes, they have a shot at the playoffs. But I wouldn't look at, I look at this Cardinals game and I go, they're playing better than I think most people would have assumed. I don't think the Colts are a pushover. Now that game is at home, so we'll see, ultimately how that one goes. Seattle coming in after the bye week, I don't think that one is a guaranteed W. Then they go to Miami. So, Jacksonville, I think the Jets are a lot better than the Jaguars, but I also think the Jets are a lot better than the Patriots, and, they blew that one. So things will be interesting down the stretch here, starting with this next game at Arizona in Week 10, and we'll see where it goes. Thanks for listening.